Okay. Once again, good morning to all. I am going to start the second session now. So, in this session, I have divided into some three parts. The first one, which is going to be about, I'm going to ask you some questions. So, that's about interactive session first, 5 minutes. And the next one, I'm going to give some introductions on the presentation structure of compiler. And the third one, you will have some presentation, and then last one, summary of the entire session. So this is how I have planned to execute this particular session. Now I would like to ask you some questions, and then you people are going to post the answers in the chat box. And after that, after evaluation of that particular answers, we will be moving to the next presentation. Okay. So I would like to ask some questions to you people, though you know or may not know, and try to answer those questions. Okay. So this is going to be the first question now. uh, what are the various translators that we have? What are the various translators that we have? So post your answers in chat box. Students, okay, good. Sindhu have posted exactly. Okay, Soundarya right. Mohan Prasad correct. Induja, Rohit Balaji, Vinusri. Vinusri is the first one to answer this question, I think so. Pravina, Deepika, okay. Naveen, Deepak have answered only assembler alone. And Jyotigmar, you have answered as compiler, assembler, and then it's macro processor, ma. Okay, interpreter. Okay, right. Pratish, okay. Meghanathan, Suri Prakash, Nishant, okay. Okay, good. So most of you have answered for the first question. The second question is, um, so how many years it took to design Fortran compiler? How many years it took to design Fortran compiler? Okay, good. Very good, very good. Most of you have, more than 70% of you have answered correctly. Hari, Satya, Nishant, Meghanathan, Nijanthan, Pravina, Nirmal, Jyoti, Sindhu, Darshini, Induja, Mohan, Rohit, Naveen, Manjula, Deepak, Surya, Rohit, Soundarya, Vasant, Pravina. Okay, Deepika. So the answer is 13 years, ma. The answer for this question is 13 years. So good. Uh, okay, correct. The next question is, what are the types of errors that we have? Types of errors. What are the types of errors that we have? Deepika is the first one to answer, and then Vinushree, Manjula, Mohan, Soundarya, Naveen, Nirmal, Surya, Jyoti Kumar, Meghanathan, Hari, Nijanthan, Nishant, Darshini, Rohit, Balaji, Pravina. Okay, good, good. Thank you for answering. And your fourth question is, um, we have two forms of compiler. So, what are those two forms of compiler that we have? Two forms of compiler. Yes, most of you answering very correctly. The two forms of compiler are simple and advanced. Okay, good, very good. So the answers are simple and advanced. Okay, the last question, the fifth question. What are the various phases of compiler? No, no, no. Just give me how many phases of compiler that we have. The number alone. How many phases of compiler that we have? 77777. Okay, good, very good, very good. The answer is correct. The first one to answer is Deepika, and then Jyoti Kumar, Mohan, Naveen, Deepak, Vasant, Sindhuja, Sindhu, Induja, and then Pratish, Nirmal, Nijanthan, Shruti, Meghanathan, Induja, Nishant, Manjula. Okay, good. Very good, ma. So that's it about the interactive point of view. We have completed the interactive nature of session. Next, I would like to give some introductions on the presentation, the structure of compiler. Okay, so thank you, ma. Thank you for answering. You have answered mostly, more than 90% of you have answered very correctly. So thank you for answering. So with this, I will get an idea. So how well that you people are listening, and how well that you are interacting. This is going to be an very good view for me, as how well that you people are listening. So thank you for listening. And then now I'm going to start with the introduction to the structure of compiler. Okay, so make note of these things. Okay, suppose if you have a note and pen with you, kindly make a note of these things. So basically, in the last session we discussed about, we have two parts in the structure of compiler. The two parts which is going to be, the first one which is about analysis, and second one which is about synthesis. So these are the two parts that we have in structure of compiler. This particular question could be asked in some various names, as what are the various structure of compiler that we have, or what are the various phases of compiler that we have, or describe about life cycle of the compiler. So they could ask this same question in some different formats, as structure of compiler, phases of compiler, and life cycle of compiler. So this is going to be various terminologies that they may use while asking the same question with some different forms. And then here we have some two parts. The first part which is about analysis, and second part which is about synthesis. In the analysis part, we have some various phases, like we are going to include some three phases under analysis part. The three phases are lexical analysis, and then syntactic analysis, and then semantic analysis. So all these analysis which comes under analysis part. Okay, and then the next one, synthesis part. So under synthesis part we have some three forms, three phases actually. The first phase, which is going to be intermediate code generation, and next one which is going to be code optimization, and the third one which is going to be code generation. So all these things related to generation and optimization, which is related to synthesis part. Okay, So we have some two parts here, analysis part and synthesis part. Under analysis part we have some three phases. Under synthesis part we have some three more phases. And then the other name for analysis part, which is going to be front end, and then the other name for synthesis part we used to call it as in back end. So we have two ends over here as front end and back end. The purpose of defining these terminologies in forms of front end and back end is front end, which is going to do something, which is going to process something, and which is going to produce some results to the back end. Okay, so the back end, which is going to feed the input provided by the front end, and in turn it used to produce some other results. So you have two parts, analysis part, which is going to be front end, and then synthesis part, which is going to be back end, where front end, which is going to give some results to the back end, where back end, it is to take the results of front end and it used to process, and finally it used to produce some other results. So this is how actually it used to work. So here, along with this analysis phase and then synthesis phase, so along with all these phases, total of 6 phases, we have two more phases. The two more phases is nothing but error detection and correction, and then symbol table generation. So among these phases, the syntactic analysis phase and then semantic analysis phase together, which is going to be in one phase, a single phase. We must not separate it separately. Okay, so totally we have 7 phases only. So lexical analysis, second one syntactic analysis. Along with the syntactic analysis, you have semantic analysis also. So you must not separate it as two phases. So both are, which is going to be acts like in single phase here. So along with these phases, you have two more phases: error detection and correction, and then second one symbol table generation, or else we used to call it as symbol table management. So these are the two more phases which used to work along with all these phases. Okay, and then here we used to call the terminology intermediate representation. Intermediate representation means, so we have some various phases. Each and every phase is it's going to process something and it is going to produce some results. Okay, so whatever the results it's going to produce to us, all those results which is going to act like an intermediate representation for us. For example, we have a total of 7 phases. For the first phase, lexical analysis, which is going to produce an intermediate representation. That intermediate representation we used to call it as in tokens. And then second one, the syntactic analysis phase, which used to produce an intermediate representation. That particular intermediate representation we used to call it as in syntax tree or parse tree. And then for both syntactic analysis phase and semantic analysis phase, it's going to produce the same results, nothing but syntax tree, or else we used to call it as in parse tree. And then intermediate code generation, which is going to produce an intermediate representation named as tree address code. And the next one, code optimization, which is going to produce an intermediate representation, nothing but the optimized code. And then the final, the code generation, finally it is going to produce what, target program. So these are the various a sequence of phases that we have. So each and every phases which is going to produce some intermediate representations. So intermediate representation means which is going to produce a result. That particular results will be considered as an intermediate representation. That will be feed as an input to the next phase, that whatever that we have in that particular sequence. So it used to take that particular intermediate representation as input, and it used to process something, and it used to produce some other output. That particular output will be considered as intermediate representation of the corresponding phases. So this is how actually the entire sequence which is going to work over here. And then we have one more thing we used to call as passes, PASSES, passes. Passes means by grouping of few phases we used to call it as passes. For example, here we have two parts, PARTS, analysis parts and synthesis part. All these phases whatever that we have in analysis part could be grouped together and called as pass 1, and all the phases that we have in synthesis part could be grouped together and called as pass 2. Okay, so that's about passes. Passes means grouping of one or more phases, and then we used to call those grouping as passes, PASSES. Okay, so that's about these things. And the next one, which is about symbol table management or symbol table generation. This is going to be one of the important thing, because each and every phases it is going to process something. Okay, whenever it is going to process something means nothing but it's going to process entire source code, and it's going to do something over there in the source code. So here, whenever it's going to process something, it used to enter some informations in the symbol table. Symbol table is nothing but, symbol means whatever the names that we have in the source program, all those names we used to call it as an symbols. It may be an user defined name, or it may be an reserved keywords. So all those names whatever that we are going to use in our source code or in our program, so all those things we used to call it as an symbols. Okay, so whatever the names, it may be an user defined name or which is maybe an inbuilt name, so all those names we used to call it as an symbols. So we are going to take all those names from the source code and we are going to store it in a table. So that particular table we used to call it as a symbol table. So it's very simple, it's very simple, that we are going to take symbols means names from the program, and then we are going to store those names within a table. That particular table we used to call it as an symbol table. Okay, and then each and every name, each and every symbol which consists of some various attributes, those attributes will be stored in that particular table. So various attributes means, for example, you are going to declare a variable integer a comma b, for example, you are going to declare. Now the symbol name here is a, which is going to be the first symbol name, and b, which is going to be the second symbol name. First we are going to take a, and then we have serial number 1 a, and then serial number 2 b. So like that we are going to enter into the symbol table. And then here the attributes means, for example, for the symbol a, you have some various attributes like, um, where we are going to store it, what is the address where we are going to store it, and what is the data type of that particular symbol, and how many bits that it's going to occupy in computer memory, and what is the value that it's going to store in it, or what type of value it is going to store in it. And then so all these informations, so attributes in the sense additional informations about a particular symbol or a particular name, that whatever that you have used in your program, all those additional informations we used to call it as attributes. So the table which consists of symbol names and then various attributes of that particular symbol. Okay, so this is about symbol table, and this particular symbol table will be used by all the phases. For example, we have three phases in analysis part, and three more phases in synthesis part. All these phases which is going to use symbol table. So for example, lexical analysis is going to store some information in a symbol table. All those information will be used by the syntactic analysis phase. And then syntactic analysis phase is going to store some information in the symbol table that will be used by semantic analysis phase. And then semantic analysis, which is going to store some information into symbol table, that will be used by intermediate code generation phase. So similarly, all those sequence of phases which is going to take some information from the symbol table, and after processing it used to put some information into the symbol table. So these are some introductions that I would like to give related to the presentation, the structure of compiler. Now I would like to start that particular presentation now.